Things that you did not know about The Office. It actually debuted. Do you guys remember the year that it debuted?
2004?
You were still here in Portland, if I remember correctly.
I was in Eugene.
Were you? Because
Yeah.
I remember you were like, I want to watch this the first episode or whatever.
Yeah, it was March
We
24th.
were eating super burrito.
March 24th, 2005. And then it ran until May 16th, 2013. We're going to play a little fact or fiction with the boys right here. I'm going to give them a statement. They got to guess whether or not it is a fact or if it is a fiction. Number one, fact or fiction. Steve Carell was not the first choice to play Michael Scott. Fact or fiction? Lan.
Fact.
Lan says fact. Frank?
Well, yeah, I go fact. There's always like 10 different people that they have.
Absolutely. You both are correct. Steve Carell was not the original pick for Michael Scott. NBC originally offered the role to Bob Odenkirk, later known as Saul Goodman in Breaking Bad. Carell almost missed out on the show because he was committed to another sitcom called Come to Papa.
Hold on. You just
That's
reminded
John
me
Sally,
of this.
ladies and gentlemen.
I was going to say.
Yeah. So, no, you just reminded me of this. He was, like, one of his first breaks he got was the Dana Carvey show. I don't know if you remember that from the 90s, like late 90s on ABC.
Dude, the writing staff on the Dana Carvey show is insane.
Did you see the documentary they did on that? And they talked about like the lead in to one of their shows.
Oh, when it was coming out of like a super
It was coming out of
super serious
the
home improvement.
Yeah, the home improvement. Like, Dad, I don't want to die. And they're going.
He's like, we're not
"It's
going to have
sad
it.
to know
And
your
then they were like
kids."
the Diet Barks Root Beer Dana Carvey show.
The Dana Carvey show presented by Diet Barks Root Beer. Like all of them are rewatching it, and just bust out laughing. If you can find that, that's the funniest thing.
Yeah, so
ever.
Carell, he was on the show Come to Papa, and it got canceled, so that opened him up, so he was able to take the role in The Office. Next up, fact or fiction, the show was almost canceled after its first season. Frank, fact or fiction?
I mean, I believe that's a fact. Almost all of them that time period were canceled after the first season.
Lan, fact or fiction?
Fiction. I want to say fiction.
Frank, got it. Yeah, that's a fact, man. It had terrible ratings during season one, and NBC almost pulled the plug. The rising popularity of Steve Carell's movie, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, made NBC realize his star power was growing, and so they kept it around. The network gave the show a second chance, and it slowly built into one of the most beloved comedies of all time.
See what you do when you let an audience grow?
I have a mug like that. I don't have it with me right now, though. All right, next up, fact or fiction, John Krasinski was caught bad-mouthing the show before he was cast. Lan, fact or fiction?
Fact.
Frank? Fact or fiction?
I'll go fiction on that one.
Lan gets the point. That is a fact. Before he was officially cast as Jim Halpert, John Krasinski was unknowingly talking to an NBC executive while waiting for his audition. When the executive asked how he felt about The Office, Krasinski said, "I just hope they don't screw it up like every other American remake of a British show." The executive then introduced himself as the head of NBC, but thankfully Krasinski still got the job.
Yeah, I mean, is that really him bad-mouthing the show?
I don't think it's bad-mouthing the show. I think it's really bad-mouthing all of the failed conversions.
American attempts, yeah.
Yeah.
Then he failed at Captain America, and they gave it to Chris Evans.
All right, next up, fact or fiction, Jim and Pam's wedding scene was secretly inspired by a viral YouTube video. Frank, fact or fiction?
I never saw their wedding, so fiction?
Lan, fact or fiction?
Fiction, too.
Oh, sorry. No, it is a fact. Although secretly, I don't think it's really anything that... It was inspired. I don't think it was a secret. So the famous Forever dance down the aisle at Jim and Pam's wedding in Niagara, this name of the episode from season 6, was inspired by a viral wedding video. Yeah. The video which showed a real-life couple's wedding party dancing to Chris Brown's Forever. No hitting was involved. Became so popular that the Office writers incorporated it into the episode. The real-life couple was thrilled when their video got referenced in the show.
Sometimes you just gotta slap your wife.
My wife.
My wife. Next up, Fact or Fiction. Rainn Wilson, who played Dwight, originally auditioned for the role of Michael Scott. Frank, Fact or Fiction?
Factamundo.
Lan, Fact or Fiction?
Yeah, fact. Why not?
Yeah, you can see a lot of their audition reels. Before landing the role of Dwight K. Schrute, his middle name is not Fart. Rainn Wilson auditioned for Michael Scott. His take on Michael was a much weirder, more awkward version, which didn't quite fit the vision of the show. However, his audition made such an impression that they cast him as Dwight instead, which ended up being the perfect role for him. Like you can see, Seth Rogen, his audition tape is out there for this.
Didn't they show all those when it was coming up to the end of?
I think they released a lot of that stuff
yeah.
later on.
I thought they did a special on TV and showed a little bit of that too. Could be wrong.